So the Astroworld sagas continue, and I'm going to be talking about it. Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Today I'm going to be continuing talking about Astroworld and why I just feel like this whole $2 billion lawsuit does not really mean much at the end of the day. And by the way, when I say it doesn't mean much, I'm not saying that it's not important for the victims. I'm saying for the victims, I care so deeply for the victims. I'm so concerned that this really happened. People have lost their lives, and no matter how much money anybody's suing anybody for, it's never going to bring those people's lives back. It's never going to heal the people who've been in hospital as a result. And when I say it means nothing, I mean it means nothing to the perpetrators, to those who orchestrated this horrendous event. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because basically what Travis Scott's being sued for, Travis Scott and whoever else is a part of the lawsuit. One of the victims who's come forward, which also it is a attorney in Texas who I believe is supporting this, which I'm not surprised. Shout out to the Texans. But he's being charged for inciting a frenzy, making a stampede, cutting corners, and they're saying so far that there's been 282 victims is the number of people they're calling who have been affected in one way, shape, or the other. As I've said in previous videos, some of the people who were there have come out saying that they believe at least 100 people have died, at least 300 in hospital. So again, we don't really know what's going on. But the reason why I want to talk about this today is because I spoke about in my previous videos how I feel like at the end of the day, right, if this is what it is, which I believe was a sacrifice for, you know, Travis and his team for whatever they needed, I think Kris Jenner was involved in that. And I'm doing a separate video talking about Kris Jenner and Lou M. Taylor and how I feel those two people could be, what their correlation could be behind closed doors. And there's some very interesting information on that. I think a lot of those people purposefully knew exactly what they were doing with this Astroworld thing, and they needed to make some sacrifices, because the thing is, guys, for those of you who are used to this type of content on my channel, you won't think that's what I'm about to say is crazy. But the reality is, in this day and age, in this world that we're living in, you know, whichever spiritual team you're playing for, there are people like to act like God is the only one who has rules, if you like, and boundaries. But the devil has rules and boundaries as well. And he has things you have to do in order for him to use his power. Now, with God, it's all just about choice and just choosing him and choosing Jesus. When it comes to the devil, however, he has another way. And a lot of the times that involves blood, real life blood, because, you know, the Bible talks a lot about blood, and blood being, you know, where life comes from. And so that's why people who do a lot of demonic, satanic stuff, they sacrifice people or animals because they need the power of the blood to work in their favor. So a lot of things went down. People said that they felt they could feel demons coming into them being at Astroworld, and so on and so forth. But so what I'm saying in this video is, what the reason why I'm saying this 2 billion doesn't really mean anything is, for the people who are in control, I think this was totally worth it for them. I think they more than accounted for. In some ways, I do think they slightly overplayed their hand, and I don't think they thought they would get in as much trouble as they're getting now. But also, I think the thing is, right, in industry, people have money, and the best way to have lots of money and be able to get away with having lots of money is for people to not actually know how much money you actually have. And I feel like this is something they've capitalized off of, the fact that people think $2 billion is a lot for them. I don't think it's that much for those people at the end of the day. For somebody like Lou M. Taylor, as an example, who is the business manager of Travis Scott, if she is a management and she's earning, let's say, between 10 to 30%, which is how much managers tend to earn from all of her clients, we already know she was working with Britney Spears, who's worth, I think, hundreds of millions actually at this point. Then taking a nice little chunk of 10 to 30% from a whole bunch of different people, she's probably got a lot of money. And same with Kris Jenner. She is the momager, the momager, manager, witch of the cult that is, you know, the Kardashians. She, again, all her little chunks she's probably taking out of all of her children, she's probably making a pretty nice penny on top of the money she's making herself. And both her and Lou are both the kinds of people who are also involved in investments and in furthering their income. So these people have money. So this $2 billion lawsuit, I don't think is really something for us to be like, oh my gosh, this is such justice. I think for them, it was literally worth paying that money I feel like they, in their head, they're almost indirectly paying for the sacrifices, knowing that it's going to create problems, knowing that a lot of people are still going to be fans of the likes of Travis Scott and people anyway, which you've seen. I talked about how Travis Scott gained another 500,000 followers on Instagram after all of this, knowing that people are still going to want to buy Kylie's cosmetics, because that's the world we live in now, where the person you support can do something so despicable. I mean, people still want to listen to R. Kelly, and I did some videos about R. Kelly on my channel, so you can check those out. People still want to support his stuff. So a lot of these people in power, especially people on the management label level, which are the people we don't get to see, they know exactly how this works. And a lot of them, I think, are now just counting the cost and saying, you know what? Doing evil, demonic things is becoming cool now because of the likes of Lil Nas and all that stuff. And instead, what we'll do is we'll just do what we're going to do, and we'll just deal with it. Because guess what? When there's a news story, people forget. Guess what? If we have to pay 2 billion, we'll give up that 2 billion if it means we can make the sacrifices we need to maintain the power and the powers that we have in Hollyweird and just in the world in general. And that's why I think, as sad as I am, because I'm genuinely sad for all of these victims, I am disappointed by so many of the parents who even allowed their children to show up to something like this. But and that is the sad part. But I just feel like these people who are at the top in industry, they knew exactly what they're doing. They've probably accounted for this 2 billion, and it's probably not going to cost that much if it means they get what they want, and they're going to essentially get away with it. Because all they're saying now is, oh, there was a lack of proper planning. Like, you see all of these things. They're not saying they purposefully, there's no talk about how they purposefully orchestrated this thing to happen. It's a lot of, oh, we should have thought about this more, and we should have thought about that. And one of you guys mentioned Tanner, and mentioned TanaCon, and I thank you for my subscriber who mentioned, for one of you guys who mentioned that, because I actually went and watched like a whole documentary about that just to find out more about what happened, because I kind of knew. And it's kind of a similar, I think with her, she could kind of get away with it because she was more the one where you could see that she just thought she could do something that she really couldn't do. And I more strongly believe her, though I think it's a similar kind of tactic they've tried to use. I may more believe her that she tried something, she thought she made a promise that she couldn't actually make, and things went downhill. And she admitted to it in the end as well. She did admit to it, which I respect. Whereas on this side, I think they're hiding behind the fact that they very, very, very much knew exactly what they were doing. They knew they were going to, because people like Lou M. Taylor and people like Kris Jenner are the PR experts. They know exactly what to say to the media. They know exactly who to go to, exactly whose ear they need to have in the media and all of that to sell the stories that they want to have. And this is why I think, for example, they didn't just say there was no deaths. They said there were like 8 deaths, even though it's been said there's been at least 100. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts as well in the comment section down below. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting this channel and joining. It's been so cool to have so many of you guys here, and I love hearing you guys' thoughts in the comments, genuinely. So please let me know what you do think. Subscribe if you are feeling the vibe and you want to join the tribe. We have so much fun over here. I feel like just talking about things that people are not talking about, and I'm going to continue to do that because that's what we're all about here. Other than that, do like the video if you did like it. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.